Part 1 of The Mother and the Child. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Mother and the Child by Maria Montessori. Part 1. The mothers of today take far more intelligent care of their children than did the mothers of the past, and this is not because they love their children more, but because the science of medicine, by establishing rules for child hygiene, has materially aided the mission of motherhood. Thus the treatment according the child has brought great change to the mission of motherhood. Above all, it has virtually transformed some of the principles, that is to say, some of the ideas as to the real influence that we may have on a child as he develops. Let us rapidly survey these transformations. What used to take place? Perhaps there are some who still remember having seen certain practices considered a universal dogma at one time. The child was wrapped in swaddling clothes to avoid having crooked legs. His tongue had to be clipped so that he might some day talk. He always wore a cap to keep his ears from standing out. Care was always taken to lay the baby down in such positions as not to run the risk of doing permanent injury to his delicate head. The good mothers also rubbed the little newborn baby's nose so that it would grow long and slender, and not remain too short and stumpy. They even put gold earrings on him at birth, because this supposedly made his sight keener. In some countries these practices are doubtless forgotten, but in some they are still in use. Who does not remember the means used to help the child in learning to walk? In the first months, at a time of life when the nerve paths are not yet developed, and it is impossible for the child to coordinate his movements, mothers would waste several half-hours a day trying to teach the child to walk. They held the babe by his body and used the disordered movements of the little feet to delude themselves into thinking that these were the beginnings of walking, and because the child began, little by little, to put one foot in front of the other, and to gain confidence in the use of his feet, the mothers attributed all this progress to their previous efforts. When the control of movement was somewhat established, but not equilibrium, or the power of standing upon his feet, the mothers used straps to support the baby body, and thus had him walk with them, or when they could not spare the time, they would put the child into an ambulator, which, having a broad base, could not tip over, and there he stayed, his arms hanging over the side, his little body supported by the rim, and though he did not know how to stand still, he went forward by moving his feet, that is, he walked. What did science reveal when it entered the field of child welfare? Certainly it offered no sure means of strengthening the nose and ears, and it did not enlighten the mothers as to the ways of teaching a child, even from birth, how to walk. No, first of all, it uttered the firm conviction that nature herself sees to determining the shape of the head, nose, and ears, that man will talk well without the need of clipping his tongue, that the legs grow straight naturally. Not only this, but the fact that the function of deambulation is established of itself in nature, and has no need of assistance. Hence we must let nature act on its own accord as freely as possible, and the more a child is left free to develop, the sooner and the more perfectly will he attain his higher forms and functions. Abolish then the swaddling bands, and recommend great peace and comfort when he rests. The child, with his limbs free, should be left lying quietly, not tossed up and down or rocked as many used to do, thinking they were amusing him. Neither should he be forced to walk before his time. When the hour comes, he will arise and walk. Today almost everyone is convinced of these facts, and swaddling cloths, girths, and ambulators have almost disappeared from sale. Children therefore have straighter legs and walk better and at an earlier age than formerly. This fact is well established.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?